Did we, To Wicked has an Evo plan. Did you guys get your video back, by the way? I assume so, because some of you are commenting again.
Eventually got it back.
Yeah, so it did come back? I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if that's our internet or if that's something else. Let's see here. Let's see if Chris replied.
Something I've noticed is whenever your guys' connection gets bad and the live feed on live stream goes away, your video usually becomes really grainy, and it hasn't changed at all the entire broadcast. So I don't know what's going on either.
Yeah, it was weird because the last time we went down, so Space Mike, we're going to bring Chris back on if that's all right. So we're gonna let you go for the show unless you've got any. Oh no, we need to do an open before we do that really quick.
Yes, that's why I was sticking around.
Yeah, that is why you were sticking around. Gosh, by the way, great job this week. That was fun. You did a fantastic job as always.
Thank you very much.
All right, I'll say, why don't you start off with Discover Launch? Mike, you can start with Discover Launch. I'll say.
Discover launches into deep space.
You'll say the last. He'll do ATV carry-in, and then I'll say plus a live interview with Dr. for Chris Newman. Why did I say Nolan? Dr. For.
I didn't even hear you say that. That's really
Dr. For.
Dr. for Nolan.
Paging Dr. For.
Dr. for Nolan.
Well,
Wow.
he was kind of apprehensive to say doctor in the he's like, oh, no, not doctor, but I mean, he's a doctor, so I feel like I should.
Doctor.
He was apprehensive. That's kind of his wish. I'll say with Chris Newman about space law. All right, ready?
Sure.
Here we go. This is take one, and it's going to be epic. Take us away, Mike.
Discover launches into deep space.
I can't hear him. You know that, right?
Well, when you see him stop talking, that's when you go.
Okay, great. So
All
we
right.
get to do that again. Sorry.
That's two. Here we go.
My bad.
Here we go.
Discover launches into deep space.
ESA's ATV says goodbye to the ISS for one last time.
And I talked to Chris Newman about space law. Stay tuned. Tomorrow begins right now. Let's do that one more time. Ready? This is three. Actually, the pause was good. I like
Really?
Yeah, no, it was good.
Good
You stumbled over your
Lord.
lines. Other
I
than
did.
that, yeah, if you didn't stumble, we would have been set. So, all right, let's
Well,
do this
because I
again.
didn't want to say
Basically,
ATV
you
and
screwed it up for
ISS
everyone.
and everything else.
Yeah,
it's
you
a
screwed it up for
mouthful.
everyone. Yeah, I got it. Go ahead, Mike.
Acronyms have separated.
Mommy and Daddy are fighting. All right, take us.
Everyone seems to like it. It's weird.
All right, go ahead.
Discover launches to deep space.
European Space Agency's, I can't do it. All-terrain vehicle is what I keep trying to say. Automated transfer vehicle. That's why I reverted to ATV.
4.
Oh, I hate you all.
Ready, go.
Discover launches into deep space.
European Space Agency's automated transfer vehicle says goodbye to the International Space Station one last time.
And I take a Jesus,
I
woman!
told you it's a mouthful!
Holy crap!
Do you want me to use acronyms or not? That was my choices. ESA's ATV says goodbye to the ISS for one last time, or I am just saying all of it, and I nailed it, damn it!
Oh, I know, but it was... All right.
ESA's ATV 86's ISS.
All right. 5. My bad. That was epic.
Yeah!
All right. Do it again.
Discover launches into deep space.
European Space Agency's automated transfer vehicle says goodbye to the International Space Station one last time.
Wow, and I interview Chris Newman about space law. Stay tuned. Tomorrow begins right now.
Yeah.
Oh, finally.
For the love.
For love.
Seriously.
All right.
I didn't have a choice there.
I'm gonna
That
go.
was Carrie.
And that was awesome.
Yeah.
Twice.
Oh man. Actually, Donna, you should have it. Can you call Chris again?
Yeah, I got it.
Thanks.
Well,
Bye,
I will
Mike.
see you guys later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
it was
Mike.
amazing.
Talk to you later.
Yep. Bye. Skype. Skype TX. This is a nice system. This is definitely worth $2,000, not 4. I originally thought it was only worth 1. Oh, out of the ear. He may not be available anymore.
What's the most takes we've ever had to do? Probably 30.
Yeah.
Honestly, it depends on if you're talking about just doing this stuff at the open.
Go ahead and kill it. Go ahead and kill it, Dada. Yeah. So the thing, guys, is Chris is in Europe, and it is late. I'm just gonna leave that out. I don't need it anymore. And it is late, so we're gonna let him sleep.
Yeah, that works.
Oh, we got him? Oh, I was going to let you sleep.
Oh.
Wait, now I don't have an earbud.
I was going to say, you're the one who can hear him, though.
Hey, oh, God, technology fail. All right. Chris, I know it's late for you, right?
It's okay. It's okay.
That means yes.
That was very polite. Very polite.
All right. So since we've got you, by the way, thank you so much for coming back on. The chat room requested you come back. That's how much they liked you. So chat room, you've got Chris back. We're going to limit this to no more than 10 minutes. Is that a fair amount of time?
That's great for me.
Great. So we're going to limit this to 10 minutes. No more kids. So use your 10 minutes wisely. What did you want to ask Chris before we let him go? It's going to be hilarious when they're like, wait, I don't know.
No.
I don't know. We have to wait for the 30-second delay for them to ask their questions. See, now I started taking my earbud out, and now I'm messed up. All right, let's go back into the questions channel. What's the most question? Oh, all right, here's actually a good question. Adrian C. asks, in order to power a new age of engines, nuclear reactors will be needed. Does the Space Treaty allow this kind of use?
That's a really great question, because actually there's recommendations and guidelines about using nuclear power right now, using nuclear power in probes and that type of stuff. The thing is, what we've got is guidelines. We haven't got law. We haven't got binding law. So I think they're going to have to develop something along those lines, because one of the things that I think we're seeing a real increase sort of momentum towards is the environmental impact of space activity. Kind of when I started looking at this, we were very much, certainly I was anyway, maybe this is my own personal journey, but I was very much of the Douglas Adams, space is big, really big type of philosophy. And so what does it matter if we nucleify the place? It don't, it's so big. But actually each part of space represents a pristine and unique piece of the universe. And, should we really be going around depositing nuclear waste left, right and center? So I've gone on a sort of environmental journey, but it seems like I've picked up the reading I've been doing, the academic research I've been doing. It seems like that actually many space lawyers and many people concerned with space governance are on the same journey, because we've seen the damage that we've done to Earth's atmosphere with space debris. And I think, once we start messing about with things like nuclear power in space, it's a fairly permanent change to the space environment. So sort of long way around to answer the question, I think it's inevitable. But I wonder whether nuclear power is actually going to be the way that we're going to get out there, or whether there's going to be a new form of propulsion that we're going to have to regulate against.
Well, nuclear power, we can find cleaner ways to do that, right? I think we've got thorium reactors are still nuclear power, right?
Yeah, sure.
Right. So we've got there. We'll see. I think time will tell. All right.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm getting inundated.
What I will say in relation to the nuclear thing, that one of the big things about mining on the moon is this supposed amount of helium-3 that can produce boundless safe energy as well, and that's going to be another dimension to it all. Whether that type of in situ resource utilization can be undertaken.
Well, maybe, right? We haven't actually figured out how to make helium-3.
Absolutely.
Right. So we're not there yet, but we think we can. So that will be interesting in the future. All right, this one comes from Daniel N. Is there talk about establishing a galactic court?
Well, the problem that when you're looking at legal enforcement, there's one thing that sort of always rings around: money. It's going to cost money. If it's going to cost money, and people have to buy into it. So they have two problems that are going to be fairly large in any sort of international or intergalactic tribunal. That, are people going to be subject to its jurisdiction, and are people going to pay for its upkeep? And I think the answer to probably both of those is going to be no. I think that what we're going to find is that at the minute, at the minute, we've got fairly well-established state boundaries, and we've got fairly well-established states, and they're very happy for the, you know, people who commit crimes within their territories to be dealt with by their legal systems. Now, by extension, the Outer Space Treaty says that the launching state retains controlled jurisdiction over anything it launches. So anything launched on an object is subject to its jurisdiction, therefore subject to its criminal laws and its civil laws, etc., etc. I don't see that changing dramatically for the next few years and for the foreseeable future. So I suspect the answer to the Galactic Court is probably no, because I don't think there'll be the will to do it just yet.
All right. That actually makes a lot of sense. Dutta, do you want to just ask your question in person?
Sure. What of the existing hardware on the moon? Does space law protect and more importantly preserve the Apollo landing sites, the flags, tracks, and the one small step for posterity?
That's a fascinating question. The reason it's fascinating is I've got a student who's writing a dissertation on that exact question, the way in which we can preserve the Apollo landing sites, because they're every bit as iconic and they're every bit as dramatic as anything we've got here on Earth. The thing is, the way that it currently works at the minute is, as I said to you before, the state of launch retains ownership. Okay, so right now the Apollo 11 landing site, the bits of hardware that are there belong to the United States. Luna, the Russian probes that landed on the moon, they belong to Russia, or you know, or whatever it is, however it is that works. So what you find is that the way that the Outer Space Treaty protects it is by giving it back to the nation states for them to protect. Okay, whether it's sufficient is another matter. You know, I think the reason the Apollo landing sites were chosen was, you know, ease of access. If we're going back to the moon, are we going to be going back to those same sites? I don't know, and I'm not sure that there is an easy answer for that. But at the minute, in terms of the actual artifacts themselves, they're owned by the nation states. That doesn't change. So in terms of the actual, you know, posterity of it, there's no special procedures in place. One of the things proposed is, you know, the UNESCO World Heritage Site. But the problem with that is the clue's in the title, World Heritage, not out of this World Heritage. So I think there's going to be some discussion on the scope of World Heritage sites and how that can be used as well.
So in theory, the United States could make it illegal to trespass, and then you would be subject to their laws?
Now, that's the problem, you see. They can control the artifacts because they're the launching state. They can't make any sort of proprietorial claim on the actual site itself. The Outer Space Treaty is quite clear. There's no appropriation by means of sovereignty, by means of occupation, which is what this would be. So actually, in terms of the actual landing site itself, there can be no sort of claim of sovereignty. So the United States couldn't say, don't trespass, but what they could say is, don't touch our stuff that's there.
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right, Karen, I don't have that on my screen, so do you want to ask that question for me?
Sure. It says, from Free Jaffa, says, so could an international organization hold sovereignty? Sovereignty, sorry, over non-Earth objects to set up a legal framework? Is there any case of joint sovereignty over the South, like at the South Pole has a similar case?
Yeah, again, once we start getting international organizations involved, we start running into this is where we run into the outer envelope of space law and space policy, because essentially there has to be a launching state. There has to be a state that takes precedence in that. So in terms of international organizations, the international organizations will have a primary launching state. So Mars One's a fascinating example for this. You know, I have a degree of skepticism whether we'll actually ever see Mars One launch. But if it does, there's going to be a launching state. Now, it's a Dutch company, but it's talking about using SpaceX rockets, and SpaceX is United States, so it's going to require FAA launch license to get up there. So there's this type of discussion as to who is going to be the launching state. That's generally the problem that occurs when we're dealing with international bodies. I mean, the European Space Agency, for example, tends to deal with it by, you know, the satellite that comes from the predominance of the manufacturer. You know, so if it's a European venture, it might be a German satellite, so they'd be the launching state. So it's very difficult once you start getting international consortiums involved. It becomes very difficult.
So, if I understand correctly, using Mars One as an example, they're a Dutch company, nonprofit. they launch in the U.S. maybe with I think they're talking more United Launch Alliance right now than SpaceX,
Right.
or whomever.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. They'll say any U.S. company. So they launch from a U.S. company. There's a possibility then that because they launched from a U.S. company, that it's actually the U.S. that would control all of those artifacts on Mars, and not necessarily Mars One, or how would that work?
It might. The issue certainly with the launch would be the US would have a right of veto over it. So the FAA would have the right of veto over it, because they'd be able to say, well, hang on a second, it doesn't comply with our launch protocols. It doesn't, it doesn't safely, adequately deal with the safety of the crew, or whatever, And so, actually, in terms of the FAA may put the block on it. I would imagine, with it being the Dutch not-for-profit company, that it's the Dutch that own the infrastructure and own the stuff on Mars. But again, you see the problems, that there is this area of legal ambiguity. There is this area of discussion to be had.
All right, last question, and then we're going to let you go. So we're in our 10-minute window, and that is. Twicket asks, embassies, military bases, and other countries are considered the land of the owner of the embassy bases. Would bases and stations have the same claims in space?
Interesting, because in terms of what the way that embassies work and the way that military bases work, they're not strictly, they don't own the land. They don't own the land in the way that that ownership you would think works. It's not, the traditional ownership concept of ownership is they own the sky above and the land underneath, and that's not quite how it works with embassies and military bases. In terms of how it's going to work, say on the moon, a base on the moon, they would own the structure, because they're a launching state. So they launch it, they land it, they're a launching state. They own it under the Outer Space Treaty. They don't make any claim underneath the surface. They don't make any claim above the surface, so they can't, for example, control the airspace around them. It would be very difficult. Again, this is why I said in the show itself that we're in Space Law 2.0, because these type of questions are now becoming serious questions. Because you're going to talk about communications relay. You're going to talk about satellites orbiting in lunar orbit, satellites in Martian orbit. How is that going to be managed? I think the management of that type of thing is the next big challenge that we're facing in terms of space governance.
Chris, you are fantastic fun. Please don't be a stranger to the show. I'm going to let you go because I know it's late there, but absolutely, I'd love to bring you back on in the future and talk about more stuff as we, as more things unfurl. So let me know when you run into something cool and we should bring you back on. We absolutely will do that.
It'd be a real pleasure. Keep in touch. Thanks so much, Benjamin.
Thank you, and thank you for your time. All right, everyone, there we go. We're gonna. I want to, time zones and whatnot. Yeah, go to the. We're going over here now. I think I lost my. Oh no, I put it in my butt. There we go.
That's what she said.
We're done with this earbud. It is driving me bonkers today for some reason. Oh, there we go. Boom. None of that. We're done with that now. Oh, I liked that show. I liked Chris. He made for a freaking awesome interview. You never know, right? Because going into it, you're never quite sure what's going to happen and how it's going to play out.
Fantastic.
Well, I'm sorry?
I said I'm sure he was fantastic.
Yeah, you couldn't hear anything. All right, let me go back in the chat room. I'm in my Q channel. By the way, Space Kitcast and whoever else works in the Q channel, that is the best thing that has happened to the show since Dutta. I mean, being able to filter out the questions and only send those to us, that we can focus on that and try to ask your questions during the show, as opposed to having to scroll through everything. That allows you guys to have your conversation and us to get the information we need in real time. It's remarkable. I love it a lot. Thank you.
Aw, I'm sliced bread.
No, since Dutta, not
Yeah.
since Dutta.
Yes,
Why does that make him sliced bread?
because usually the phrase is since sliced bread. So that would make Dutta sliced bread.
Oh, well, I guess Dutta's sliced bread.
Okay. It's not as much fun when you have to explain it.
There you go. I do not know why we were having connection issues today. So the first time you guys, we were live pre-show, right? Mm-hmm. And I think we were actually live. According to my encoder, we were still live. Like, it said perfect streaming. And usually when we have issues on our side, like bandwidth, it's like, cannot maintain connection, blah, 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 blah. Did not have that happen this time. Stopped and restarted the stream. I haven't looked at the system since you guys had the disconnect and the later thing, but we didn't touch it, right? We didn't. Normally I have to go in there and stop the thing and restart it. None of that. So I have no idea what's going on. Oh, the red dot, that's the tally light. We just go back. I don't see it. Where is it?
It shows on the screen. You can see it clearly. Yeah, so above the camera itself, there's like the lens here, and then the camera's like this, and right up here is a red dot. It's a red light. It's 4 or 5 just tiny little LEDs, and that's reflecting on the TV, which when we changed TVs or moved the setup, the TV had been tilted, so we didn't have that much of an issue, and now we do.
Yeah. No, I think it's just a camera TV alignment. I think what I can do is pull the TV closer. That might help a little bit. It's also creating shadows, so I think I'll just move the TV a little bit, see if that helps. But yeah, in order for us to, we keep getting better and better. In order for us to understand what camera we're on, tally lights are on the cameras, and that's what you're seeing reflect.
Really nice.
Yeah, actually, the control room changed this last week as well, and it's not nearly as, it's still a clusterfuck, but it's not as much as one. Right? I mean, it looks nice, Dada, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, he has to say that.
He does have to say that. I mean, I require it of him.
Kinda, yeah.
Uh-huh. I don't know, I feel like we were able to center up... yeah, I don't know.
It's a very nice setup. There's lots of screen real estate and a bunch of flashy things and buttons, and I'd show you, but the cord on the Dudicam's not long enough.
Oh, well, it might kind of be. Hang on, let's see if we can, hang on. So it's kind of tucked behind there, so let's see what we got. See what we got. Here, you sit down, I'll let you, yeah, if you just.
Awkwardly, Carrion is left on camera while Ben just speaks his mind. Awesome.
Here, I'll just do this.
He can't hear me. He doesn't care. It doesn't matter to him. He makes all kinds of weird noises, and I'm about to sit here.
Whoops.
All by myself.
Well, now I unplugged the Dudicam.
There's
Awesome. Brilliant, even. Lots of fun. Should totally do that to him more often.
Excuse me.
More likely than not, we'll actually just move the TV so that it doesn't have the reflection on it, because it is really convenient for us to have the light.
Oh,
so us covering up the light is like a step backwards for us. Okay. So most likely it will just stay there. Hi, Chris. Yeah, I can only entertain you so much because, you know, again, Ben, oh God, that is a shaky cam. There you go.
Hey, Dada.
Oh, we still have Space Mike on.
Well, I wanted to ask Ben if you would call me back.
But
yeah,
I'm sure he's saying awesome things.
Space Mike. Mike keeps
Can you ask him for me, Dada?
It's very similar to the situation I have here.
I'm sorry, I was dying. What?
Can you ask Ben for me if he wouldn't mind calling me after dark?
He's the only one who can hear Mike.
So can you call Ben after dark? Or can you call Mike after dark?
Yes. Can I call him?
Something I want to discuss with you.
Email me his phone number, something. All right, so.
Apparently we don't have your number, Mike. Sorry.
That's really hard to do.
I don't know how that happened.
There you go. That's the control room.
Nice.
Someone asked one time for us to show all of the crew that helps with the show. So let me go ahead and show you all of the crew. That's the end of my showing all of the crew. We only have Dada. He runs the whole freaking thing. So here's the rack of equipment. All right, so these are the record decks and the screens that show you what's recording. Below that, we've got the fiber optic converter. So this could, oh wow, that gets hot. That gets obscenely hot. So that converts from electrical to optical for our cameras. This is the actual switcher, so I'm hoping to swap that out for the new 4K version. This is a Skype TX unit. This is what we use to bring Mike and guests into the show. And then this is a Terranex converter, so this allows me to change the format of certain media. There's actually, we need to get you out of here, dude. You need to rest. So, all right, I'm gonna finish this tour, and then we're gonna let Dada go home. one of the things that's on Dutta's screen that I haven't explained to him yet that we have never done before is there's something that says bend surf and carry surf. Yeah, you can't really, they're black, but yeah. What those will be is our surfaces have a miracast built into them, and the plan is, if it will work, to shoot the miracast into this converter, which will convert it into something that this box can understand. So we'll be able to wirelessly sling our surfaces over here as sources into the switcher for like after dark and whatnot. Down here, this is the IFB wireless transmitter. This is a DirecTV box that doesn't do much of anything right now. This is when we have people in studio, like Kat or any of our guests. This is what does the wireless transmission for that. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's not DirecTV. That's a freaking switch. That's getting swapped out today with the new system. This Z420 right down here is the Casper CG box. This is the brand new box we just bought. Came in last week, the week before? Yeah. I don't remember. It's a little underpowered, so I'm not sure what to do there. And then this is the encoder box, and that's the live stream key sitting right down there. It's not working for some reason. And then this is the broadcasting software. Woo! There you go. Window and a window and a window. And this, yeah, so here. This is what tells me whether things are broken or not. And you'll see, the only thing we did was send you too much audio, but we, according to my encoder, we never went offline. Now, you all said we went offline, so this particular week, I don't think it was our fault. It might have been live stream, like issues with their platform. I'll have to check and see. And this is the Duttacam. Oh yeah, and this screen, that screen right there, that screen is epic. It is.
I have to hide the rundown. You can't let people see
the rundown. Can't let people see the rundown. That's top secret. But check that out. Look how freaking wide that screen is. That's like 21 by something. It's huge. Yeah. It's nice because before he could only use that screen right over there, so all of that stuff, including that blank area that he hid from you, had to fit on that screen and it didn't quite fit. And then I'm really digging on the Skype TX system right down here. And the nice thing is when we get a second or third Skype TX system, they all link into the same interface, so I don't need two computers.
Oh,
it will just, yeah, it'll just, you can sling it over to whatever system you want. Yeah, so, and if you look, we're planning for the future, because in his multi-views, right down here, sorry for the shaky cam, in the multi-views you can see that Skype 1 is active, but then I've got slots preset for Skype 2 and Skype 3, and then a third camera for the studio getting set up, and then the two future expansions of things over there and there. There you go, there was a studio tour of the slightly modded. Oh, then for my home use, there's my Sonos, and then for Wi-Fi we use an Airport Extreme. Although I've got a new networking kit coming in today. All right, Dutta, we need to get you out of here. Oh, sorry, man.
No problem.
And sorry, Internet, but we're done because Dutta's sick and I want to get him home. So thank you, everyone, for watching. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you enjoyed the studio tour. And, oh, there's nothing behind the blinds. Actually, little known fact, we are currently broadcasting from the moon. And if I were to open the blinds, you would actually see the surface of the moon with the crescent of Earth in the background. So that's why we don't open that up. We don't want you to know that we're actually... So everyone thinks that the delay is internet delay. It's speed of light delay. It takes like 6 seconds round trip for us to... from the moon. What? All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Dutta is done. Dutta out. Dutta out.